So beaked whales are probably the group of mammals that we know the least about, and the reason for that is that they are very deep divers. That, by all accounts, they occur in very small social groups but are offshore species, and so most what we do know about them really is based on stranding events. These animals seem to strand a lot in certain hotspots around the globe, for example New Zealand, but also the South African coastline. And so the Port Elizabeth Museum, being the largest collection for marine mammals in the Southern Hemisphere, is an important resource to study these animals in more detail and learn more about these elusive creatures. And some of these species we really only know from one skull that washed up on a beach somewhere. Cetacean taxonomy is very much in flux, or has been in flux in the last few years, mainly because of an advancement in technology and analytical techniques in molecular sciences. And we're seeing a lot of taxonomic revisions at the moment. One example for these is the humpback dolphin, which has recently been reclassified into 4 different species. So it's the genus Sousa, and remember that a species is, the definition of a species is that the animals don't really interbreed and produce viable offspring, so we're not talking about different populations, but we're really talking about different species. One species has been described from the South Atlantic Ocean, that's Sousa toitsi. The second species sort of in the western northern part of the Indian Ocean, so it's found off South Africa here, is Sousa plumbea. The third species is more found towards the Asian side of the Indian Ocean, and it's called Sousa chinensis. And the fourth species is really in the Indo-Pacific region of Australia, and it's Sousa sahulensis. Humpback dolphins are very interesting because they're a very coastal group of species. They are all found within 500 meters off the shore, and therefore they're probably very impacted by activities in the coastal zone, mainly human impacts, so anthropogenic impacts. And all of these 4 species are threatened to a certain degree, and that really highlights the importance of recognizing them as separate species and putting them under different levels of protection, because those coastal species, more than the offshore or oceanic species, are really more impacted by our activities in the coastal zone. So the Graham-Ross Marine Mammal Collection at the Port Elizabeth Museum is the largest marine mammal collection in the Southern Hemisphere and one of the largest globally. And it's an important collection for certain taxa, for example beaked whales and humpback dolphins, and I have a skull of a humpback dolphin here. And we recently 4 different species were described in this genus Sousa, and one of the lines of evidence that was used to describe these different species were skull morphometrics. So what that means is that scientists went and measured different the distance between different landmarks of the skull and compared them across the range of the genus. And basically, based on that evidence and on genetic evidence, they found that there are currently 4 different species of this genus globally.